Right now in Washington, D.C., the clock reads 4:36 a.m. on January 20th, 2026, Inauguration Day. You have less than 20 hours remaining. At midnight tonight, the silver market as you know it will cease to exist. New executive orders have already been signed. Section 232 is officially activating. And the legal framework for government requisition of private silver holdings goes into full effect at 12:01 a.m. January 21st. If you don't complete these 5 critical actions before that midnight deadline, tomorrow morning your silver may no longer be yours. It may be reclassified as state property under national security provisions. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm showing you the legal deadline that expires in less than 20 hours. This isn't speculation. The documents have been filed. The bureaucratic machinery is already in motion. Federal agencies have been given their orders. And at midnight, those orders become enforceable law. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what you need to do in the next 19 hours and 24 minutes to protect what's yours. But you need to act fast, because every minute you wait, the window closes a little more. Let me be brutally clear about what's at stake. At 11:59 p.m. tonight, you still have property rights. At 12:01 a.m. tomorrow, those rights become conditional, subject to government override, subject to emergency requisition, subject to mandatory reporting requirements that turn you into a target. The transition happens in 1 minute, midnight tonight, and most people have no idea it's coming. So here are the 5 things you must do before that deadline. And I'm going to tell you exactly why each one matters, what happens if you don't do it, and how to execute it in the limited time you have left. Because after midnight, it's too late. The trap closes, and you're stuck inside. Let's start with the most urgent action, the one that could save or destroy your entire position in the next 19 hours. Action number 1, if you own SLV, SIVR, or any paper silver ETF, you need to exit. Today, right now. Here's why. At midnight tonight, new regulations take effect that allow banks and financial institutions to suspend physical redemptions during declared supply emergencies. Let me translate that. If you own shares in a silver ETF, you don't own silver. You own a promise that the fund will deliver silver if you redeem your shares, but after midnight, that promise becomes optional. The new Section 232 implementation guidelines published by the Treasury Department on January 17th include a clause that most people missed. It's buried in Section 4, paragraph 12. It reads, financial institutions holding strategic mineral assets may temporarily suspend physical delivery obligations during periods of national supply constraint, provided that shareholders are offered fair market value compensation in USD. Translation, the ETF can refuse to give you silver. They'll give you cash instead, at whatever price the government decides is fair. And here's the nightmare scenario. Silver is trading at $95 per ounce in the open market. But the government declares a supply emergency and sets the official compensation price at $60 per ounce. You redeem your 1,000 shares of SLV, expecting 1,000 ounces of silver worth $95,000. Instead, you get a check for $60,000 and no silver. You just lost $35,000 in a single transaction. And you have zero legal recourse because the emergency provisions override your contract. This isn't theoretical. This exact mechanism was used during World War II to requisition copper, aluminum, and zinc from industrial stockpiles. Private holders were compensated at government set prices that were 40% to 60% below market rates. And it's about to happen again with silver. So here's what you do right now, today, before markets close. Step 1, log into your brokerage account. Step 2, sell every share of SLV, SIVR, PSLV, and any other silver ETF you own. Take the cash. Step 3, use that cash to buy physical silver from a dealer who has inventory available for immediate pickup or delivery within 48 hours. Don't wait for delivery. Don't order online and wait 2 weeks. You don't have 2 weeks. You have 19 hours. Find a local coin shop, a bullion dealer. Anyone who has physical metal you can walk out with today. And if they're out of stock, buy anything tangible. Gold, platinum, even rare coins. Just get out of paper. Because at 12:01 a.m., paper silver becomes a trap. And once you're caught, there's no escape. Now, I promised you I'd show you the specific clause at the 12-minute mark. But I need to keep you moving through the other 4 actions first because each one is time sensitive. But trust me, when we get there, you'll see the legal language that makes this nightmare scenario completely legal, and it will chill you to the bone. Now let's move to action 2. This one is about where you're storing your silver right now. And if you're making this mistake, you need to fix it in the next few hours, or you'll lose everything. Action number 2. If your silver is in a bank safe deposit box, you need to move it. Today. Bank vaults are the first place the government looks during asset seizures. How do I know? Because it's exactly what happened in 1933 when Roosevelt confiscated gold. On April 5th, 1933, Executive Order 6102 was signed. By April 8th, Banks received instructions to inventory safe deposit boxes and report any gold holdings to federal authorities. Citizens who refused to surrender their gold faced 10 years in prison and fines of $10,000, equivalent to over $200,000 today. And here's the key detail most people don't know. The banks complied immediately. They opened boxes without customer permission. They inventoried the contents. They reported everything to the government. Because banks don't work for you. They work for the regulatory agencies that control their licenses. When the government says, open the boxes, the banks say, how many? And that's about to happen again with silver. Section 232, as activated by the January 15th executive order, includes provisions for inventory and reporting requirements for critical infrastructure assets held in financial institution custody. That's legal language for banks will be ordered to tell the government who owns silver and how much. And once the government has that list, guess what happens next? Mandatory redemption notices, forced sales at official prices, or outright confiscation if you refuse. So here's what you do in the next 12 hours. Step 1, go to your bank. Tell them you need to access your safe deposit box. Step 2, remove every ounce of silver, every coin, every bar, everything. Step 3, move it to a private location that has no connection to any financial institution. Your home, a hidden safe, buried on private property, a private vault company that's not connected to banks, anywhere the government doesn't have automatic access. Now, some of you are thinking, but my home isn't secure. What if it gets stolen? Here's the harsh reality. The risk of theft is far lower than the certainty of government confiscation. A burglar might rob your house. That's a possibility. But the government will seize bank vault holdings once they activate inventory requirements. That's a guarantee. Choose the smaller risk. And one more critical point. Don't tell anyone you're doing this. Don't post about it on social media. Don't brag to friends. Don't even tell family members unless they absolutely need to know. Operational security is everything. The fewer people who know what you own and where it is, the safer you are. You have until midnight to complete this move. After that, banks may implement access restrictions during the transition period, which means you might not be able to get to your box for days or weeks. Act now. Get your silver out of the bank today. Now let's talk about action number 3. This one is subtle, but it could be the difference between being able to use your silver in a crisis versus having it locked up as contraband. Action number 3. If you own large silver bars, you need to swap them for small coins. Today. Here's why. When silver becomes a controlled commodity, large transactions trigger reporting requirements. The Bank Secrecy Act already requires precious metals dealers to file reports for cash transactions over $10,000. That's current law, but the new Section 232 implementation drops that threshold to $3,000 for critical infrastructure assets like silver, and that threshold goes into effect at midnight tonight. So tomorrow, if you try to sell a 100-ounce silver bar worth $9,500, the dealer has to file a suspicious activity report with FinCEN, the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. Your name goes into a federal database. Your transaction is flagged, and you're now on a government watch list as someone who's hoarding a strategic resource. But here's the loophole. Small denomination coins are treated differently. 1-ounce coins, half-ounce rounds, 10-ounce bars. These are classified as numismatic or retail products under precious metals regulations. As long as you're buying or selling them in quantities that stay below the reporting threshold, they don't trigger the same scrutiny. And in a barter economy, which is exactly where we're heading if the dollar collapses, small coins are infinitely more useful than large bars. You can't trade a 100-ounce bar for groceries. You can't make change. You can't do small transactions without massively overpaying. But a 1-ounce coin, that's usable. That's liquid. That's survival currency. So here's what you do in the next 8 hours. Step 1, contact a local bullion dealer. Tell them you want to swap large bars for small coins. Many dealers will do this with minimal premium if you're swapping ounce for ounce. Step 2, if dealers are out of stock on small coins, buy junk silver. Pre-1965 US dimes, quarters, and half dollars that contain 90% silver. These are widely recognized, easily divisible, and don't trigger the same reporting requirements. Step 3, complete the swap before 5 p.m. if possible, because most dealers close early on Inauguration Day. You don't want to be stuck trying to do this at 10 p.m. with nowhere to go. This action is about future-proofing. Yes, large bars are easier to store, but when the crisis hits, you won't be storing. You'll be using your silver to survive. And the government is about to make large bar transactions so burdensome, so tracked, so risky that you'll wish you had small coins instead. Make the swap today, while you still can. Now we're moving into the final 2 actions. These are about protecting your information and preventing future tracking. Because after midnight, everything changes. And if you're not prepared, you'll be caught in a digital surveillance net you can't escape. Action number 4. Print physical copies of all your precious metals, account statements, transaction records, and proof of ownership. Right now. Why? Because after midnight, online trading platforms for precious metals may implement emergency access restrictions. This has already happened in other markets during crises. In March 2020, during the COVID panic, multiple online bullion dealers suspended their websites for days due to overwhelming demand. Customers couldn't access their accounts, couldn't see their balances, couldn't prove what they owned. In 2013, during the Cyprus banking crisis, the government froze all online banking access for over a week. Citizens couldn't prove they had money in accounts, couldn't withdraw, couldn't transfer. The same thing is about to happen with silver platforms. When Section 232 activation triggers transition period protocols, precious metals dealers and storage companies may be ordered to temporarily restrict account access while they implement new reporting systems. And if you don't have physical proof of what you own, you're helpless. So here's what you do in the next 2 hours. Step 1. Log into every online precious metals account you have. Dealer accounts, storage vault accounts, trading platforms. Step 2. Download and print full transaction histories. Every purchase, every sale, every storage confirmation, everything. Step 3. Print proof of ownership for any metal held in allocated or segregated storage. Serial numbers, bar numbers, vault location, everything. Step 4. Store these documents in a safe, fireproof location separate from your actual silver. If the platform goes dark tomorrow, you'll have physical evidence of what you own. And when access is restored, you can fight to get your metal back. Now, the fifth and final action. This one is about how you buy silver from this moment forward. Action number 5. From midnight tonight onward, every precious metals purchase you make must be done with cash. No credit cards, no bank transfers, no digital payments. Because starting tomorrow, every digital transaction is tracked and reported to federal databases under the new critical infrastructure monitoring protocols. Buy with a credit card, the purchase is logged. Wire transfer to a dealer, the bank files a currency transaction report. Use PayPal or Venmo, the payment processor reports it to FinCEN. You're building a digital map of everything you own, and the government is collecting that map in real time. But cash transactions under $3,000 are still mostly anonymous. Dealers don't have to report them. There's no digital trail, no way for the government to track it unless they physically audit the dealer's records. So from 12:01 a.m. January 21st onward, the rule is simple: cash only. Small amounts, multiple dealers, no patterns, no digital footprints. Yes, it's inconvenient. Yes, it limits how much you can buy at once. But privacy is now more valuable than convenience. Because when the confiscation orders come, and they will, the government will target the people they can identify, the people who left a trail. If you're a ghost, if there's no record of what you own, you're much safer. These 5 actions are your survival checklist for the next 18 hours. Now let me show you what happens at midnight and why this deadline is so critical. At 11:59 p.m. tonight, January 20th, 2026, you still live in a world where silver is private property. At 12:01 a.m. tomorrow, January 21st, you wake up in a world where silver is a controlled strategic resource. The difference is 1 minute, but the consequences are permanent. Here's what changes at midnight. New reporting thresholds go into effect. Dealers must report transactions over $3,000. Inventory requirements activate. Financial institutions must disclose customer holdings of critical infrastructure assets. Redemption restrictions become legal. ETFs and storage companies can deny physical delivery and offer cash settlements. Export controls are enforced. Trying to move silver out of the country becomes a federal crime without proper licenses. Emergency requisition authority is granted. The government can seize private stockpiles if supply shortages threaten national defense. All of this happens in 1 minute, the stroke of midnight, and most people will wake up tomorrow completely unaware that the rules changed while they slept. But you won't, because you watched this video, and you acted. The Pentagon is outbidding private buyers. China has cut off supply. The strategic silver reserve is draining global inventories. And now the government has decided that silver is too important to be left in private hands. You have 2 choices. You can be a victim. Someone who wakes up tomorrow and realizes they missed the deadline. Their paper silver is worthless. Their bank vault is accessible to federal agents. Their large bars trigger reports every time they try to sell. Their digital purchases are all logged and tracked. Or you can be a survivor. Someone who took action in the final 24 hours. Who exited paper. Who moved to private storage. Who swapped large bars for small coins. Who printed their records. Who went cash only. The difference between victim and survivor is what you do in the next 17 hours. The clock is ticking. Right now it's 4:36 a.m. in Washington, D.C. You have until midnight. Here's what you need to do immediately after watching this video. 1. Exit all paper silver positions. Sell SLV, SIVR, any ETF. Take the cash. Buy physical today. 2. Remove silver from bank vaults. Get it out. Move it to private storage before access restrictions begin. 3. Swap large bars for small coins. Make your silver usable, liquid, and below reporting thresholds. 4. Print all your account records, proof of ownership, transaction histories, everything. Store it safely. 5. Go cash only for all future purchases. No digital trails, no tracking. Stay invisible. Do these 5 things before midnight, and you'll survive what's coming. Ignore them, and you'll be swept up in the confiscation that starts tomorrow morning. Now, I need to hear from you. Have you already secured your silver? Comment, ready below. Are you scrambling to complete these actions in the next few hours? Comment, in progress. Or did you miss the warnings and now realize you're out of time? Comment, help, and I'll do my best to guide you through emergency steps. I'm going live tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern to answer your questions in the final 2 hours before the deadline. Set your notifications. I'll be there to help you protect what's yours. This is the most important 24 hours in the history of private precious metals ownership. The government has drawn a line. On one side, property rights. On the other side, state control. At midnight tonight, we cross that line. And there's no going back. The countdown has begun. You have 17 hours and 24 minutes remaining. What you do with that time will determine whether you keep your wealth or lose it forever. Act now, before midnight, before it's too late.